Today, I'm going to show you how to create these magical apothecary jars that can add a little bit of magic to a centerpiece or anywhere in your house.
The things we'll need to create our magical apothecary jars are the apothecary jars themselves. So I have an assortment of different glass jars here. I got a lot of these at Kirkland's home store, but I also got one at Michael's, and I believe I got one at Hobby Lobby as well. And then we're going to fill these with different items. Now, I have created some different tags that we are going to use. And they are mistletoe, pine cones, everlasting icicles, and enchanted snow. So the items we're going to need for those are obviously things like fake snow, fake icicles, some pine cones or fake pine cones, and then some mistletoe. So those are different things we're going to put in our jar. So obviously I do have an assortment of those here. And then I also have some of the battery-operated twinkly lights, and I have them with a timer function. So then that way I'll be able to set them for the time I want them to come on every day. And they'll just continue to come on and turn themselves off until the batteries die, which is ideal for any of these holiday situations. So then that way it pretty much will last the whole holiday season, or you might only have to do one battery change. And then we're going to use a few things like some twine, string, some hot glue, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to put it all together on my centerpiece on my dining room table. And for the tags, I have the link for this in the description down below. Let's get started. Would you like a chance to win a prop potion bottle from me? Then consider supporting me over on Patreon. All of my patrons have a chance to win a potion bottle every month. Link is in the description down below. So to create our everlasting icicles, which were talked about in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, when Harry was describing the castle that was all decorated for Christmas for the Triwizard Tournament, he talked about the fact that there were icicles all over the place that were not able to melt, so they were everlasting icicles. So that's what I thought we would do here. And as you can see, I kind of already tested one in here, so I want them to be suspended at different heights inside the jar. And to do that, we're going to use a little bit of hot glue, and we're going to use some of this clear fishing line or clear filament that you would use for like jewelry, anything like that that's just really thin and it's not super easy to see. So then that way you get the illusion of it being suspended inside the jar. Now, if you don't like hot glue, and I will tell you, the hot glue is completely removable from the glass like I've showed you guys several times before. So after the holiday season, if you want to pluck these out, it's really easy to just kind of scrape it off and it's gone. But if you don't want to go that route, you could also use some of the Scotch magic tape. So this, you can see it, but it's not crazy noticeable. So you could also tape your icicles to the top of the lid, and that would give you a similar effect. So I just want to show you the top here. Now, as you can see the little drop of glue, but it kind of just looks like ice, so I'm not really worried about it. But it gives us this great suspended quality that allows us to put the icicles inside the jar. So to do that, I'm going to tie some of this clear fishing line to a couple more of these icicles, and then I'll show you how we're going to glue them inside. Okay, so I've tied my fishing line to my icicle here. And now all we're going to do is take our hot glue and we are going to glue this on here. So the best method I have found is to kind of hold your icicle up and see where the length is. So then that way you can try to get your icicle glued on where you want it. So I'm going to be honest, this is probably not going to be crazy easy for me to do on camera, but we'll give it a shot. So you just kind of drop the drop of glue on there and then we just let it dry, holding the icicle string in place, so then that way it'll just solidify where you want it. And once it's glued in place, all we have to do is take our scissors and cut the little bit of excess fishing line, so then that way we won't have the hanging pieces. So like I said, not super easy to do on camera, so I will fix that, but I'm going to show you how this will finish up. Okay, so now that I have all of my icicles glued on here, and I could add more if I wanted to, but I think that's good. I'm going to take the tag that I've created, and just like we've done some of our past tags that I do on the sticker paper like this, we're going to fold it in half. And this is before we take any of the backing paper or anything like that off. We just want to get everything crisply folded so that it knows where it's going. And then we can go ahead and take the backing paper off and fold it onto itself. If you don't pre-fold it, you're likely to have it stick in a spot that you didn't want it to, and then you're kind of stuck and you just have to print a new one. But now, since it knows where it's folding, we can literally just start right on that fold and work our way up. Now I kind of rough cut this, knowing that once it was together, we would want to clean up some of these edges and then go around the whole outside edge with our matching marker. So most of that actually matched up pretty well. So at this point, I'm going to punch the hole. And then I can take a matching marker, which in this case, this one's kind of a blue-gray color. And we're going to just go around the outside edge to give our tag a more finished look. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead and tie this on. So I have some of this string that's got a little bit of the silver tinseling kind of woven through it, so that would be a fun one to use for these. And I also have the gold one like it we'll use on some of the other tags. So for this one, I think we're going to go through the middle here. And then we can pull the other strings through the middle, just so we get a nice little strung tag look on here. And then we can go ahead and hang this around the top. And I may, on some of these, I may knot it. On some of these, I may tie a bow. I think it's just going to depend on the actual item and where I want it to land and how I want it to look. So for this one, I think I'm going to tie a little bow. And then we have our everlasting icicle jar ready to display on the table, and on the back it has my C&CC Apothecary logo on it. So it just looks like it's like fresh out of the store as a potion ingredient or a little Christmas ingredient, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so for my largest jar, which I'll try to back up so you can see the full picture of it, I'm going to do mistletoe. So I made my little tag here that says mistletoe, and it also says may contain nargles. So I actually want to add nargles to our mistletoe, and I picked this mistletoe up at Target. It was part of the Magnolia collection, and I think it is just a really, really good looking bundle of mistletoe, which is, ironically enough, not super easy to find anymore. So we're going to be able to put this in here, and I'm going to put a little bit of snow at the bottom to be able to hide our battery pack. So to get our nargles, we're going to add some of these LED lights, and these are twinkling ones. So I don't know if you guys can see how these are twinkling down here. So I felt like it would give the effect of nargles, whatever those may be, but I felt like Luna would appreciate it. So I'm going to string this through my mistletoe here. And we may put some in the snow as well, because I mean, the nargles could have fallen off of the mistletoe, but I'm going to go ahead and string the lights up on here, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to put it in our jar. Okay, so I have my lights strung through my mistletoe, and we have our little flashing nargles. So now we're going to take some fake snow and put it in the bottom of our jar. And the best fake snow that I found was at Michael's, and it was by the little village section that they have, and it is just this really great looking little fluffy snow. And we're going to put this in the jar. So I feel like this fake snow is really, really good looking, but it does kind of start to attach to the sides of the jar. So if that happens, just kind of take some paper towel and you can kind of brush some of it away. I actually don't mind a little bit of it because obviously it's like it's fresh fallen snow. So at this point, I'm going to bury my battery pack inside the snow. going to reposition this slightly and then I'll come back on camera. And I'm going to add just a little bit more snow to kind of cover up that one cord. So I'm going to attempt to just kind of add a pinch full. And if some of it gets on the mistletoe, that's fine. I mean, it's in fresh fallen snow, so. Okay, great. So we have that in there, and now I can cap it up. And we have our mistletoe. Okay, I just raised my tripod up a little bit so you guys can see the whole thing. Okay, so we've got the top there. Have all of our pretty mistletoe in there that lights up. And now I'll be able to add our tag. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the other one. We're going to pre-fold it, stick it together, and then we're just going to stick it onto our jar. So I got my tag all cut out, went around the outside edge with the matching marker. And I'm going to do the same tag method I did on the other one. And I used the string with the little gold wrapping in it for this one. And I'm actually going to take the lid off so I can tie this on here easier. And we have our mistletoe jar. Okay, so for the next jar, I thought I would do a Patronus jar. And I actually thought I would do one of these two stags that I found. I think I found this one at Target, and I might have found this one at Hobby Lobby. But I thought I'd put them in here with a little bit of snow, and then we're going to create a blue light that can shine through it. And I actually think I might go with this clear one, only because, again, in Goblet of Fire, Fleur is talking about how at Beauxbatons, they have all of these ice sculptures around the castle that don't melt, and it just makes everything feel more Christmassy for her. So I thought because this one looks like it's made out of ice, that would be very cool and kind of reminiscent of both Harry because of the stag and of Beauxbatons because of Fleur talking about the ice sculptures. So to get the blue light, I'm actually using one of these little floral lights, but you could totally use the string lights as well. The same method will work for it. But I'm taking the top off, and then I have a blue Sharpie. Now, I will say Sharpies do seem to work the best for this trick I'm going to show you guys, but any permanent marker should work as well. You may have to do a couple coats of it, but it should work. So all I'm going to do is take where the LED light is, and I'm going to color it blue. Now, we've done this on multiple things. We did it for one of the Beauty and the Beast cloches, all kinds of stuff. And like I said, you can do this on the fairy lights, anything, and then if you ever get sick of it, you just take rubbing alcohol and wipe it off. And then you've got your white light again. But this will give us a blue light without actually having to buy a blue light. What's nice about this too is you can actually make colors that you normally wouldn't be able to find in submersible lights or in fairy lights, just because you have a permanent marker that has that color. So that's always a cool thing too. All right, let me get this screwed on here. And now, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see, we have a blue light. And we'll be able to put that in our snow under our statue, and it's going to make it look blue, kind of like a Patronus or an ice sculpture. So I'm again going to take my fake snow here. And I'm going to bury my light. And then I'm going to place my little ornament in there, which I kind of wondered if that would happen. So I'm going to see if I can maybe place some little pieces of white styrofoam or something to just kind of help keep him in place. Okay, I didn't find any styrofoam, however, but I did find a plastic container that I was able to just cut a circle out of, rough cut, obviously. And I'm going to set this in here and put some of the snow on top of it. But that's going to give me a platform for my little deer to stand on so that his feet don't sink into the snow. And there we go. We have our little deer sitting on top of our snow, and he's not sinking in anymore. So now I can stick my lid on here. And we have our little ice sculpture or Patronus, whichever you'd like. I'm going to turn my light off so you can kind of see him glow. Super cute. And I didn't make a tag for this one, so this one's just going to be the way it is. And since we started this one already, this little jar is going to be enchanted snow. So I'm just going to fill it up with some of our snow. And you could totally add some string lights to this or another little light like we just did in our little ice sculpture Patronus. But I think I might just leave this one regular snow. And again, this was in a couple of the different Harry Potter films when they're talking about Christmas, how there's all this snow around the castle and it's snowing in the Great Hall and it doesn't melt. Okay. So we're going to put our little lid on here. And again, I have a tag for it. And this one I made a vertical tag for. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare this one and we're going to put this on our little snow. Okay, so I got my tag prepped. I decided to use a black cording on this one. And again, we're just going to put it around the top of our jar. And we have our enchanted snow. And our last jar is going to be pine cones. So I found these at Target, but the Dollar Tree actually had some very similar ones to this. They're just these really great little glittery fake pine cones, but you could definitely use real ones. Anything like that. I just loved this silver and white version of these. So all I'm going to do is cut the hangers off and we're going to put them in the jar. And I think that'll go under our lid. Let's see. Oh yeah, perfect. So we've got our little pine cones here. And I'm going to put our tag on it. So I've got my little pine cones tag here. And it has all of the different uses for pine cones on the back. And this one, I'm going to make a little bit longer tag. And we've got our pine cones. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to make a magical centerpiece out of just a few different things, and it's going to give a really great look to it. Okay, so I'm up at my table, and I have this really pretty tablecloth that is a cream color, and it has these really pretty silver and gold snowflakes on it, and then I'm using a white fur table runner, and I'm going to show you how we're going to take all the jars that we just made and a few other elements, and we're going to make a magical centerpiece. And now I'm going to take some of our past winter potions and place them in our centerpiece as well. And my sister made me these really awesome embroidered lacy snowflakes, so I'm going to hang these from my chandelier above the table. And finally, I have some floating candles I'm going to add to my chandelier as well. And there you have it, our magical apothecary jars. These will be a great addition to a potion and prop collection, or a centerpiece, or just to add a little magic to your holidays. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. And if you guys like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.